Amber. I am the blogger, crafter, entrepreneur behind the business and blog called Damask Love. It is a website and content creation vehicle for all things DIY, really trying to get people to tap into their crafty side. And that's what kind of my mission statement is with what I do.
And so your blog and Instagram says PhD to PhDIY.
Yes.
So what's the PhD part?
Well, I have to give my husband credit. He came up with the PhD to PhDIY thing. He thinks it's very clever. And apparently it is because people remember it. But I originally got a PhD in child psychology. That's what I went to school for. I went to school for a long time. It takes a long time to get a PhD. To kind of go into that career, and that was my plan, to be a child psychologist, and I would provide therapy to families and children who were dealing with chronic illness, and that's what I did. But while working as a PhD psychologist, I started a blog as a hobby, like most people do, right? I started a blog as a hobby, and the blog grew into something that was more than a hobby and took up way more of my time than any hobby should take. So I decided, you know, I probably could do this full time as long as I can make enough money. So I quit my job as a PhD child psychologist, cashed in on my PhDIY, and here I am kind of figuring all things out as a DIY blogger.
So how long have you been doing it full time?
Full time, about 3 years.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So many people know you from NBC Making It fame. How was
Yes,
So how was that experience?
It was the most challenging thing I've ever done creatively by far. It was very rewarding and a lot of fun, but it's kind of like, I mean, it's hard and frustrating, but also really fun and rewarding all at the same time.
And what was your favorite make on the show?
Oh, what is my favorite thing I made on the show? Gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago now. My favorite, I made a circus tent. I think on maybe episode 2, I made a circus tent, which it required a ton of sewing and a ton of like very precise fitting. And I don't know how to sew that well, and I've never made a circus tent before, and all those things together make it a great recipe to do it on TV, and so I went ahead and did that because that's a good idea. So in the end, I was very, very happy with how it came out.
Is there anything on the show that you wish you kind of had made, or that you wish you did like totally differently? You know,
I don't have any regrets. I think there were. If anyone hasn't watched the show, they should go back. It's on Hulu. You can watch season 1 of the show now. And it was definitely, like, I got some harsh criticisms from the judges from time to time, but, like, I wouldn't change anything because everything I made was very true to my own aesthetic and what I like to make. And even though it didn't meet their standards for what they wanted to see, like, I wouldn't change anything at all about it. No.
So in Damask Love, are there any crafts that you like are dying to do but you've never had the time to do?
I feel like I never have the time to do anything, so the fact that anything gets done is a miracle. I have had for years in the back of my head the idea to do a children's like a princess party where I turn like an IKEA, like I want to do an IKEA hack where I turn a regular IKEA set, like kids furniture set, into like this really ornate thing. Doesn't make any sense, but I promise you, if I ever get to it, it will be good. But I haven't. It's been years. I've never done it yet. Maybe somebody else will take the idea and do it.
And what's the favorite craft you've ever done on the blog? Like, ever?
Honestly, like, we publish content on Damask Love weekly. Not religiously, but usually weekly you can find new content. And I really tried for every week for there to be a favorite piece of content on there. Like, we just finished shooting something last week for Valentine's Day, and it's my new favorite thing. You know, like, I think that's how you stay passionate about what you do. Because if the favorite thing that you made was 3 years ago, then what have you been doing for the last 3 years? And how are you still passionate about what you're doing? So I try to make my favorite thing often. Yeah, it's usually, I try to make it the last thing I made.
And so if there was someone out there who maybe wanted to start a blog, or they had a blog and they wanted to take it from a hobby into something they wanted to do as a full-time business or a part-time business, because there are more.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for them or some tips?
I think for me, the reason that my blog worked and grew and became successful is that I started it out with no expectations. I started it doing the things I love to do, making the things that I liked, and being very honest and authentic about what I was making. I think now a lot of people start businesses with the expectation of making a lot of money from it, and if you follow the money, you kind of automatically veer away from the authenticity. So because I established myself, I mean, I wasn't making any money for years. And so because I established myself in my voice and what I was doing, I was able to kind of continue doing that once I started getting paid. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I would say, like, if you're gonna start by make things as if nobody's paying you to do it. And probably no one is paying you to do it, so that'll be really easy to do.
And of course, we're here at Creativation. I mean, what's the biggest thing that you hope to get out of a show like Creativation?
I get a lot out of it. I get to meet some of my favorite people who I don't get to see often because we all live all over the world and we don't see each other often. So I get to meet some of my favorite creative people. I get lots of ideas by walking around and seeing what's being made with the products. So I get ideas. Like a lot of the stuff you'll see on Damask Love in the coming months and even the next year will likely have been inspired by something that I've seen here, which is really fun. And this is, in a lot of ways, where I continue to build my business. I talk to people who are movers and shakers in different aspects of this industry. I think the first conversation I ever had with a potential book publisher was here at Creativation. And while that book never got published, like, it was my first introduction to that world. So it's a great place to have, like, face-to-face meetings. I always feel like a face-to-face meeting will get you a whole lot further than an email. So it's a great place to have all of the important people all in one space.
Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your show.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm so happy to have met you, and I get to look at your pink hair, which was, I mean, come on. My day is good.
Thank you so much.
Yes.